can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost with me, Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. Right on the show today, the ICC Champions Trophy has kicked off in Pakistan today, but we look at the Indian camp. Is there a growing sense of unrest in the dressing room with players and the management at opposite ends? And is the BCCI's U-turn in okaying the players' families to accompany them for a match an olive branch to try and firefight and get their campaign off without a rocky start to appease the star cricketers? More on that in just a bit. And speaking of stars and tantrums, Real Madrid seem to be throwing a fit now. The most lucrative Spanish club is at loggerheads with the LaLiga. They are threatening to ditch the Ligue and move out. Can this really happen? What does this entail? And is Madrid in the right here? And USA versus Canada finale at the ice hockey Four Nations tournament promises to get spicier. The USA team has requested the presence of Donald Trump, the president, at the game, after the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau made an appearance to support Canada in the previous fiery face-off. All of this heading your way, but first a look at the headlines on Sports 360. We'll start with cricket. Team USA scripted history by defending the lowest ODI total in a full match against Oman. After posting 122 in the first innings of an ICC Men's Cricket World Cup League 2 game, USA bowled Oman out for just 65 runs, winning the match by 57. All 25 overs were bowled by 4 spinners alone, making it the first time no seam bowler was used during an ODI game. In Women's Premier League, Mumbai registered their first win of the 2025 season after beating Gujarat by 5 wickets. Put into bat first, Gujarat were bowled out for 120. Hayley Matthews picked 3 wickets here. In response, Nat Skiverbrunt's 57 helped Mumbai chase the target down in 16 overs. They are second now on the points table. On to tennis. Former world number 1 Novak Djokovic crashed out of the Qatar Open in the first round. The Serb lost to Matteo Berrettini in straight sets. This was Djokovic's first match since he pulled out of the Australian Open semi-final due to injury. In football, Bayern Munich qualified for the last 16 of the Champions League and knocked Celtics out after a 1-all draw. Despite trailing 1-0 until stoppage time, Bayern salvaged a draw with an injury time equalizer from Alphonso Davies. Approximately 40 people were injured in a firecracker explosion during a football match in India's state Kerala. The incident happened during a demonstration before the match between two local sides. Firecrackers set off by the tournament organizers fell among the spectators. 2 of the spectators are said to be in critical condition. And reports say MLS club Los Angeles FC's forward Olivier Giroud lost approximately $500,000 worth of jewelry in a burglary. Giroud's LA home was robbed earlier this month. Nobody from the player's family was present at home when the burglars broke in. The Indian men's cricket team is gearing up to open their Champions Trophy campaign against Bangladesh. That's tomorrow. A match that on paper seems to be but a mere formality. There should be no real glitches here in this game. Nevertheless, it's an ICC tournament opener for the side, and the first game always sets you up for the rest of the matches. Plus, there's the thing about momentum. India will want to start on the right foot for this one. But what's grabbing the headlines leading up to the clash is all the drama and the backdrop of their campaign. Where do I really start? There are many ruffled feathers in that Indian dressing room currently. Players against the board for treating them like kindergarten students. Players against the head coach, who some feel is too stern and too rigid when it comes to team decisions. Injuries, some fresh faces, and the pressure of an ICC tournament. It's proving to be quite the pot boiler here. Now, you can always say the Indian team managed to shake off the turmoil that the Border Gavaskar series loss brought with it by a thumping victory over England in both the T20 and ODI formats. But have the fissures truly healed? Are the rifts and the many rifts still open? BCCI has agreed for players to have their families, partners or spouses over for one game of the tournament, breaking a diktat they themselves had enforced post the Australia series. They say they will need prior permission, the players that is, and collectively decide the day the families will accompany the squad, making a U-turn from that strict rule book they had designed, which said that short tournaments like this Champions Trophy will be between just 8 sides cannot have families over at all. Now, there are a few reasons for this U-turn by the BCCI. One, Rohit Sharma, the skipper, spoke for his team in that audio leak ahead of a press conference, which made it evident that all of the Indian players were not at all kicked about this diktat. The BCCI was treating them as children who needed schooling. The board, of course, want discipline, however it comes. So Rohit Sharma's conversation with the board, as he told the chief of selector Ajit Aggarkar there, murmuring, thinking the mics were switched off, probably is one reason the BCCI has arrived at this, what seems to be like a compromise. The other reason you want to start an ICC campaign on a positive, strong note, especially with too much negativity already dominating every space here, and reports of unrest in that dressing room, whether it's Gautam Gambhir's personal manager being shown the door, R. Ashwin's sudden farewell during that Australia series, Gambhir's iron fist coaching rubbing certain players the wrong way, particularly certain players also suggesting that he doesn't want them to be picked in the 11 for certain particular reasons. Extra scrutiny on senior hands Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, the absence of Jasprit Bumrah, who is leading their pace attack, otherwise bowling coach Morne Morkel having to head back due to a personal injury. I could go on. There is enough going on for the management to try and get something positive going in to an important tournament for India. And if that doesn't do much to appease cricketers, Pakistan seems to have made some amends to avoid any further flare-ups. The Indian flag at the stadium has been hurriedly added to the already present 7 other flags of the remaining countries who are participating in this tournament. The BCCI was pretty livid when asked about this blatant call that we learned afterwards the PCB purposefully executed.
First, it should be confirmed that whether the Indian flag was there or not. If it wasn't there, then it should have been put. All the participant nations' flags should have been there.
How much of all this will truly translate into results is what the coming days will really tell. But needless to say, India start as one of the top contenders at the Champions Trophy, and the challenge of living up to that tag, of course, begins tomorrow. Real Madrid, one of the biggest clubs in Spain, is under the spotlight, and it isn't because of flamboyant football, but due to the chaos the club has been embroiled in. And the latest doesn't just threaten their own position, but all of La Liga. Real Madrid are reportedly considering to ditch Spain's top-flight league and make a move to another European league. The prospective destinations are believed to be Italy's Serie A, Germany's Bundesliga, or even the French Ligue, Ligue. So what led to Spain's most celebrated club even thinking of migrating to another country? In the recent past, Madrid have been unhappy with their refereeing standards in La Liga. They've expressed serious concerns over the decisions that have gone against them. The most recent one is about their star midfielder Jude Bellingham being handed a red card. This was during Madrid's 1-1 draw against Osasuna. Jude Bellingham was sent off in the first half. Reason? The match official felt the 21-year-old shouted an insult at him. Bellingham continues to defend his case, saying his colourful words were just out of frustration and not directed at the referee. And after the massive outcry, referee Manuela Montero was removed from officiating any matches next week. He's now involved in a probe, clearly proving the referee made a mistake while officiating. But what this ugly exchange has done is put uncertainty over Bellingham's position. The midfielder might face a suspension of 4 to 12 matches if he's found guilty too, which means Madrid could be without Bellingham for crucial fixtures, denting their chances of competing with Barcelona for the top spot. And given it is February and more than half the season is done, Madrid might find it difficult to defend their Spanish championship. Bellingham's red card is only the latest in a series of incidents that have frustrated Madrid. Earlier this month, Madrid lodged a complaint with Spain's Football Federation on serious refereeing misconduct. This was after their 1-0 defeat to Espanyol. And while Madrid have been on the wrong end of refereeing decisions, their rivals, Barcelona, have seen decisions going in their favour. Earlier this week, Barcelona registered a controversial 1-0 win over Rayo Vallecano. A number of controversial decisions went in Barcelona's favour, including a penalty being denied to Vallecano. The result meant Barcelona dethroned Real Madrid to go top of the points table. Now, I understand nobody wants to see their rivals at the top of the league, especially if it is concerning Barcelona and Madrid. But does that really mean Real Madrid threatened to ditch the league? Yes, the decisions may not have favoured them in the recent past, but a club of Madrid's stature should not be resorting to threats or tantrums, saying they ditch a league that has made them, especially when the club themselves know that the idea of joining a different league is far from simple. FIFA, UEFA, and the governing body of any potential new league would all need to approve the transition. And the reason they are hanging the sword over La Liga's head is because even La Liga knows that without Real Madrid, the league would not be the same. A club that's won 36 La Liga titles and have been the champions of Europe 15 times. What Madrid are doing is threatening La Liga to make amends. They basically want to arm twist La Liga to getting their way. And it's a club that seems to have that boycotting streak in them, has a history of these sentiments too. They boycotted the Ballon d'Or award ceremony just because their star player Vinicius Jr. wasn't given the award. That decision didn't affect the Ballon d'Or ceremony, but it did give out a statement for the future. Madrid are doing the same thing now. They want to show their supremacy by challenging the governing body in Spain. They are known for their champion mindset. This is a club who is known to make a statement on the field and not through their off-field drama. This is a club that answered poor refereeing decisions in the past by winning the next game in a grand fashion. Not a club that whines. Until now, it was clubs like Madrid who kept the legacy going, but seems like their tantrums is what's making all the headlines. Donald Trump is impacting the sporting landscape. Case in point, the America and Canada ice hockey game that witnessed 3 fights breaking out in the game earlier this week. Fired up by anti-Trump and anti-US sentiments, the two teams will resume their rivalry in the four-nation final tomorrow. And while the mayhem of the last fixture is enough to make it a heated affair, Team America now wants Trump to attend the finale in the American city of Boston to add more spice to the contest. Our next report tells you more.
While the Prime Minister hugs refugees.
Canada and America, two neighbouring countries that have been long-time allies. They've seen their relations turn sour ever since Donald Trump took charge of the White House. And while the friction has impacted the political sphere, it has made the sporting rivalry a rather exciting contest. Like the ice hockey four-nation group stage fixture earlier this week, an intense rivalry in the history of the sport, but it garnered more attention with America and Canada having a go at each other in Montreal. Tempers flew all over the stadium. Punches were thrown. The ice hockey game transformed into one of fistfights. And even the 3-1 scoreline didn't stop the Americans as they continued to take jibes at the Canadian players. But surely this isn't the end of it, because the two sides will once again square off in the final. And while Canada had the home advantage last time, they will be on American soil for the finale in Boston. The Canadian fans will most certainly continue their new tradition of booing the US national anthem. But will they risk doing so, especially after the head of the state, Donald Trump, has been invited for the final showdown?
We would love it if President Trump was in attendance. We have a room full of proud American players and coaches and staff. Listen, we're just trying to represent our country the best way we can.
Every national side aspires to have the leader of the country for an international fixture, especially if it's a tournament finale. Just like how Justin Trudeau was in attendance for the earlier clash in Montreal. But the invitation to Trump isn't just because of that. Ever since Trump became the US president last month, the Republican has floated the idea of making Canada the 51st US state. He has also threatened to impose massive tariffs on Canadian imports. All these factors have resulted in friction between the two nations. And that political fallout has also fueled their ice hockey national team and its fans, who sought inspiration in the last game.
I think there was a little bit of a political flair to it. It's just the time that we're in. If you let it get the better of you, then you're in trouble. But I do think the players used it as inspiration.
Trump's motto of making a political statement in every event he attends is quite well known. He did that at the Super Bowl with the military salute during the US national anthem, a statement to prove his feelings about the black national anthem. So it won't be all too surprising if Trump does attend the hockey final in Boston, because he has more than one reason to be a part of it. First, to add more star power to the feisty face-off. Second, his nemesis, Justin Trudeau, attended the first round. And Trump might want to show the Canadian leader that if he can do it, then the American president surely can do it better. Yes, he would need to find some time from his busy schedule, but flying to Boston shouldn't be a difficult task for the American president if the stakes are so high. A pre-match golf game and then a flight to Boston to make the ice hockey finale a grand affair and stamp his authority.
Time for last serve. Lewis Hamilton officially walked out in Ferrari's red. The seven-time world champion headlined F1's launch event and joined other stars at the red carpet. Take a look. Can't wait for this season to begin. Promises to be exciting. That does it here on Firstpost. I'll of course see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbors were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir in we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi. Divyan.
we were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote effort. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion. 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.